Yo, dude, look at this dragon, bro. It's so sick. All right, so today we're gonna just we're gonna start with two cards. We're gonna try something out. We're gonna start with two cards that are just bomb, right? Super sick. All right, we got the Cityscape Leveler here. It is it's an 8-cost artifact creature construct, colorless mana. Trample. When you cast a spell whenever Cityscape Leveler attacks, destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tap Power Stone token. This has been good in 1v1 formats, it's been good in multiplayer formats. It just is very hard to interact with. You cast it from your hand for that 8 cost and take something out of your opponents that's, you know, decent, like any non-land permanent, anything. So, you know, it hits enchantments. It's like things like that. It can hit creatures. It can hit pretty much everything other than lands. So, very solid. And then, of course, when it attacks, it also destroys something else. And your opponent will get a tapped Power Stone token. A tapped Power Stone is like, it's like whatever, really. It's like really nothing to be too scared about, and it comes in tapped, so it's not like the opponent can use it immediately, you know, even if it would benefit them if it was untapped. It just comes in tapped, so it's just really strong, right? So let's try to build a deck around the Cityscape Leveler, and we're gonna bring another card in here. It's going to be the Wurmcoil Engine, and also another sweet artifact creature. It is colorless. It's artifact creature Worm, has Death Touch lifelink. When Wurmcoil Engine dies, create a 3/3 colorless Worm artifact creature token with Death Touch and a 3/3 colorless Worm artifact creature token with lifelink. It is a 6/6. So just from these two creatures alone, like, we're getting colorless vibes, big mana vibes. Also, like, let's maybe consider like an artifact reanimator deck, like, you know, something where we can get value out of our artifacts, perhaps by sacrificing them. That could be interesting with Wurmcoil Engine, or just bringing them back from our graveyard into play. So like big artifact, big mana, maybe some sacrifice synergies. So how will we accomplish this? So let's talk about some different sacrifice synergies, okay, that we have allotted for these cards. So we can start off with this one here. This is kind of like an OG right here, an OG goblin from the Urza block. If you're like me, you were around there when, as we were little kids, we'd go to our local store and pop open some Urza packs and not know what the hell we were doing. I'll tell you a story about Metalworker. And Metalworker was like... I guess it was just a very good card, of course, and people knew about it back then, but for a little kid, you'd have to understand that, like, what is it, like a 1/2 or a 1/1? It's just boring. Like, I think we had pulled those as kids in that store, and we just basically, like, give them away. It's like, a metal worker again? It was a sad story, I guess, looking back, huh? But those were other times, man. Those were other times. Like, Leviathan was like probably the best card I thought I had. But no, I did have some fun mono black decks. But yeah, those are good stories, good memories. Anyways, this is kind of a throwback to that, right? I believe this is probably Urza's Destiny, maybe, perhaps. There, I know there's the kind of the potion. There's the saga. I think those are the gears. This could be a legacy, Urza's Legacy, I suppose. Urza's Destiny, Urza's Legacy, I suppose. The anvil like that. But regardless, what a cool card this is. What a powerful card it is. You know, a 1-drop, summon goblin. It's a 1/1. So, exchange target artifact a player controls for target artifact card in that player's graveyard. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I haven't actually gotten to cast this card yet, but I can't wait. I cannot wait to try it out. It just seems so interesting that you can interact with your opponent's artifacts and maybe ones they have in their graveyard. And then, of course, we can exchange our artifacts for the ones in our graveyard. So it's just very interesting. Has some nice text there. I wrecked your metal guy, boss, but look, I made you an ashtray. Nice. So there's that. There's the Goblin Welder. So, what other sacrifice synergies do we have? What other ways can we get stuff into the yard as well? Goblin Engineer is just going to fit that like beautifully for us. It's going to basically let us tutor for a artifact or entomb, like have an entomb effect where we take that artifact from our library and we put it directly into our graveyard, and then that artifact's value can be any artifact, which is nice. So it can be any artifact we entomb, which is just a nice start. Its ability is a red and tap, sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So not as powerful as the Goblin Welder, but it does come with that added bonus of being able to take any card from our library and putting it in any artifact card and putting it directly into our graveyard. So I think the artifacts I prefer to find with the Goblin Engineer, and I've kind of set my deck up this way, is I like to find the Sword of Fire and Ice. That's a nice hit. That will work well against our red and blue opponents. If we need to kind of cater to that, we can find that protection from red and blue. Additionally, we can also go for like a pro red green if we have like opponents that are more skewed to that color scheme. We can find that pro green, which would be nice. Then we can get through those opponents instead, or protect our permanents from those colors. So the pro red is also very important because we do play a lot of like Blasphemous Act, Spiteful Banditry, and we don't want to always lose our our commander or our creatures. So I think it's just very nice just to have kind of as a way to protect our colors, our creatures from those specific spells. So these swords are just very good. I'm more lenient on the Sword of Forge from Frontier. I'd prefer to get that sword onto the battlefield. I just like it because once it hits, you're exiling cards like 2 at a time from the top of your deck, and you can play an additional land. Sometimes it whiffs. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it whiffs. Whereas the Sword of Fire and Ice, you don't whiff. You just draw the card. But Sword of Forge and Frontier has that really big upside. And if you have a double striker or you're doing things with double strike, you can also get some additional bonuses from that, from hitting twice in succession. So those are always very nice, and it's good accelerants, especially if you can play an additional land. So I really like finding that with the Goblin Engineer. I think those 2/3 cost spells are great. Here's some more payoffs for sacrificing our artifacts on the battlefield. Trash for treasure. We just have to make sure we get stuff into the graveyard, get in some of our payoffs into there. That's going to be very key for this deck. And we have to make sure we include enough payoffs to make it worth it. So Trash for Treasure is just a 3-mana sorcery, and its additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact, return an artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. What a fantastic card. Just a nice value there. Chaos Warp acts as that kind of removal that we like in our deck. We can utilize it for removal. Additionally, if we are able to manipulate the top of our deck, say with a Sensei's Divining Top, or maybe even our Doors of Durin, and we know it's on top of our library, we could also basically use this as like a Trash for Treasure effect, where we exchange a permanent that we have for the top for the basically the card on the top of our library. So that's kind of a nice little kind of another way to go with Chaos Warp, which is kind of fun, right? So I like that about that. Here's Duretti. So I haven't exactly played a game with this particular card. A lot of these, like the direction I've taken this deck is kind of new, but I've looked into these cards. I've also like shuffled up the cards a lot and kind of tested them out, and Duretti looks fantastic. The fact that it can just loot cards, maybe get us there in the terms of putting cards into our grave, that from our hand, that's fantastic. So that's kind of a nice playoff, and it can do the same effect as these other cards where if we can -2 it, we can sacrifice an artifact on the battlefield and exchange it, just like the Goblin Welder. It's like a redundancy, right? It does come with an added bonus that it can also loot, right? It can loot from your hand. So you discard those 2 cards and draw that many cards. This is very interesting. So we are a big fan of Duretti too. Scrap Mastery, it kind of looks like a fun card to play as well, where perhaps we're in a really, grindy game, and maybe towards the end of the game we're able to, fill our graveyard with a lot of artifacts, and we go ahead and play a Scrap Mastery, and we pull all those artifacts from our graveyard to the battlefield. So, I do believe we'll be probably playing more artifacts than most of our opponents, in general in this particular deck. And they're going to be high payoff artifacts as well. So we like our odds with the Scrap Mastery. And we've had a video like where we kind of discuss like the artifacts that will help us get there, right? Get that self mill going. Shriekhorn is definitely one of my favorites. So there's the Shriekhorn, and just very good at getting cards into your graveyard. Underworld Cookbook is probably just another one I'm going to try. I'm just going to like prioritize all these cards because I feel like I really want to give it a golden go and just, go from there, where I'm just looting a lot of stuff into the graveyard, just maximizing that and making sure I have the payoffs in place. So the Underworld Cookbook is something I definitely want to try just because it definitely loots into our graveyard. Gamble is kind of a fun one because if I am looting into the graveyard and I have these payoffs, if I do gamble for something, I'm just, more often than not, I'm not afraid of it going to the graveyard, right? Because I should have ways to get it back. So, or derive benefit from it. So, gamble is definitely a card I want to try out. And here's just another additional card that will help, build our graveyard, is the Mask of Memory. Basically, it involves combat damage and drawing 2 cards upon the combat damage and then discarding a card from there. Fantastic. Smuggler's Copter. This one just has to attack or block. So I wish I had Vigilance. That'd be so cool if it did. You'd be really getting some value out of that. But it is cool that it can just kind of like maybe, get a block in, maybe perhaps the turn it comes down, if it has Summoning Sickness, getting that block and, looting that way. And then perhaps getting on the offensive and then doing additional loot or draw and discard. So, wow, freaking awesome, man. Sweet. Sarenth Steel Seeker. Once again, just like maximizing our, looting potential here with the Sarenth Steel Seeker, and maybe looking for our payoffs too. Maybe the Steel Seeker can give us that extra boost, right? Where we're like kind of looting off the top of our deck or milling into the top of our deck, finding lands, putting those lands into our hand, and then putting the other stuff in our graveyard and just kind of keep on looking for our payoffs. I feel like I'm going to really give it another go because I feel like I've kind of really want to just go for it, So there's the Steel Seeker. Here's the Mutt. It's just another sweet card. I really love the uneartifact value of this because just because we're going to be putting so much stuff in our graveyard, getting that little extra value from the graveyard is just always nice. And I feel it's like just a sign of good deck building that, if your plan A doesn't work out, you got a plan B and you like don't gas out. I feel like that's really nice. Here is the Mesmeric Orb, and that is just a super duper mill card. Like it mills everybody like a lot, and kind of gets the wheels spinning. So we're gonna play it. We're gonna want to maximize our graveyard potential. So I'm gonna definitely be a fan of Mesmeric Orb. Here's the Collector's Vault. Once again, like we're just jamming all of the cards that have like a drawing and discarding component. This one's nice too because it does create fodder for our goblins as well. So it creates mana and with a treasure and perhaps fodder if we need it to be sacrificed for our exchanging of with our cards, exchanging of artifacts in our graveyard to the battlefield. So Collector's Vault, I think I'm going to give it a shot. It's performed decent enough, I think, before, you know. Here's just another tutor card. Once again, like, we're going to be looking for an artifact card in our deck with this particular card. We're also going to be discarding a card at random. If that card is an artifact, it does 2 damage to each of our opponents, so that'd be probably ideal, right? You know, perhaps we're looking for a card to put in our graveyard, and maybe we deal some damage to our opponents, and we also get that card in our graveyard, you know, as an untome effect. Or once again, whatever we, you know, discard in our graveyard, we're likely going to be able to get value from it. That's the way we want to design this deck, right? So Reckless Handling, we'll give that one a shot. Here is the Celestis. This is just a nice form of ramp. Like, Maria doesn't really need this card, like, necessarily, but once again, it is another form of mana, and it does add mana of any color, which is nice. Additionally, it also keeps looting cards, like that day-night cycle going off and on. That can be very beneficial for us to keep on looking through our decks, siphoning for our payoffs. Very excited to kind of look at this new version here. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Additionally, just another card that's going to be able to create us treasure tokens, discarding cards into our graveyard. This card is just very well designed, a very high power level. I think it's perfect for this deck. I'm never going to hate playing this. Whether or not it's always ideal to play it before Maria, that's another question entirely, to be honest. And I'd say still more often than not, it is probably Maria that should come out before the Fable, but they do have a contention, and that would just say, like, how powerful Fable is, that it can, like, go toe-to-toe with my commander that I built this deck for specifically. So, you know, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is just extremely strong, and the flip side is just absolutely righteous, right? So let's flip this one over. This thing is like something not to mess with. Like, there's so many cards that have so strong enter the battlefield triggers, just like off the top of our heads. Like in standard, right, we have our, you know, Titan of Industry cards, we have Itali, we have all those like very strong, like well, actually you wouldn't be able to use this with Itali, I'm sorry, because it's non-legendary creatures, but there is like an abundance of, you know, really strong enter battlefield creatures. And yeah, the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki just kind of gets that going for the low cost of 1 mana and a tap. So a very cool card and very strong. Additionally, here's the Palantir of Orthanc there, so you can see that one. That's nice. And this one is just like another very cool payoff that we have, where we're going to be discarding cards into our hopefully into our graveyard. It's a tricky card. I kind of explained it in my self-mill video, but basically, like, your opponent shouldn't be really letting you put cards in your graveyard, like when this thing has 2 influence counters. Maybe the first time to let you draw, or maybe the first time to let you mill into your graveyard, because, you know, that top card might not be a big mana card. But when it has 2 influence counters and you're having the option to mill 2 cards or draw a card, you know, it's probably best to let your opponent draw at that time, because 2 cards going to the graveyard, that could do some serious damage to you, you know. And either way, we're going to be happy in this deck. Whatever the outcome is, we'll take the cards. We'll take the cards into the graveyard. That's totally fine. Blossoming Tortoise. This card is so sick. I think I just love it, man. I love that I could play it in this deck, you know, not feel bad about it, because it's not an artifact. It's just a creature. It's just a solid 4-mana creature that helps, you know, build our game plan out. We're not really going to be paying too many man lands. We'll have the lair of the Hydra and Den of the Bugbear, but other than that, nothing really too crazy with the man lands yet. But I do enjoy the Tortoise, and I feel it's just like a great inclusion to building that graveyard synergy and building our land base. I think Big Score is nice. I think it's cool to play like one of these in the deck. It creates fodder, helps us discard like a card from our hand. That could be like the card that we need to be in there to really, you know, get us going and accelerate us. to the victory. It's a big score, love it. This one is kind of a sleeper, this wurmcoil. It's going to help us get some additional lands in our hand when it comes on the battlefield, and then we're going to flip it. We're going to mill 10 cards, and we're going to put 2 cards from those mills, 2 creature cards onto the battlefield. It's just crazy, bro. So this 8 mana power, this spell is so powerful. I just love this card. It's perfect for this deck. Vivian on the Hunt. This is just like another one. I feel like it's strong enough. Like I feel like I played it on MTG Arena, and I feel like I think I got kind of soured on it, to be honest. Like it was really good at times, like, and then it wasn't so good at times, but I feel like it's good enough. I feel like it does what we want it to do. I feel like it really helps put cards into our yard, and then like also gain some value from that milling. I think the +1 is like, I'm going to be utilizing the +1 a lot. There's also some lines like maybe with sacrificing some of our artifact creatures and like putting them in the yard, and then maybe doing some stuff with our creatures that we have on the battlefield that's will like re-sacrifice and maybe like loop some things. But other than that, we're just going to be +1ing this and milling and milling the 5, and then taking those creature cards and just putting them in our hand. So, you know, hopefully on average like a draw 2, you know, plus milling ourselves and our self-mill strategy. So I think it's fine. I think it should be fine. And that kind of leads us back to like our two cards here, the Wurmcoil Engine and the Cityscape Lover. So kind of discuss like these would be great targets, right, for getting our getting out and getting them out early, right? So we're definitely seeing that there. So what are some of the other big payoffs? You know, what are some of the other payoffs that we could have for our graveyard, right? Just the 1 ring. This is easily castable. It's also just nice to like, you know, maybe just loop into our battlefield and, you know, start drawing cards off of it. That'd be nice. Doors of Durin. That's a really nice card. A really nice card for our specific deck. It's just going to be very good to attack and kind of cheat out creatures attacking onto the battlefield. It's just a fantastic card. I did buy like a whole bunch of these. I think I bought like a whole bunch of Surge because I feel like it's such a good card, and I think I got them for like 50 cents. And I know like they'll probably always like remain at 50 cents, but I just bought a ton of them just because I really like the card a lot. And you know, when I'm like at the LGS, like I'll just like maybe just give some out to some of the friends over there, and you know, let them share in my love of the Doors of Durin, because I just love this card, and the fact that you can get it in the Surge treatment is so sick. So very cool with that. So there's the Doors of Durin. Some other payoffs that we can definitely get from our graveyard. Embercleave, that's cool. Steel Hellkite, what a bomb. That's just a bomb. This is one of my faves here, the God Pharaoh's Gift. And why I love this card so much in this particular deck is we just have an abundance of strong creatures that have like some pretty nice ETBs, and when they connect with their combat damage, there's benefits too. So we're definitely a fan of the God Pharaoh's Gift, and having that come back early enough would be fantastic for us. The Great Henge is just another sweet, powerful card that's like pretty much at times easily castable, but just another great target for our graveyard. And then the Portal to Phyrexia is kind of like our penultimate card here that we just would love to see hit the battlefield and start accruing our value from that. So we kind of went over like, I think probably the main components of the deck. There's like, you know, let me just kind of zoom out here. There's also just ways like we're going to be accelerating towards this kind of game plan. So we just have like the Jeweled Lotus, Mox Amber, Ragavan, Soul Ring, Halfling, Bird of Paradise, Price Statue. This is just a nice, good card that we can utilize for tapping and then sacking. This is like a really cool card to tap and sack. So that's one of the nicer ones to use with, for instance, our Goblin Engineer. Like for instance, we have this card out and maybe something to sack, like in the early sequencing, we could, you know, tap this for red and then sacrifice one of our other artifacts, which is nice. Because Mary can tap other artifacts for mana. Here's Shadow Spear. Blade of Cells is kind of what I want to try, just because it's just like a Chad card, and it would be cool to like fix up to like a Wurmcoil engine or something. I think that would be really awesome. Howling Mine, fantastic. Lightning Greaves, Ruby Medallion. These are just like they're all accelerants with Marion. The Emerald Medallion and Ruby Medallion are so great, and there's Tireless Provisioner. So it's going to work well with like our Solemn Simulacrum and our Tortoise. Additionally, we're planning to be placing some removal in this deck. So like last March of the Ants, Rishkar's Expertise. Oh, sorry, that's not removal. The Vandal Blast removal, Beast Within, Blasphemous Act, Spiteful Banditry. Here's the spells. The big payoff for our big strong creatures is Rishkar's Expertise and Last March of the Ents. Those benefit you from having high-powered creatures on the battlefield. They give you more cards. And then there's just some more like kind of value cards here, like Sensei's Divining Top, Eska's Chariot, Umezawa's Jite, Commander's Plate, Reckoner Bankbuster, Panharmonicon, Solemn Simulacrum, and Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Now, like, another point of this like kind of exercise was kind of to get to the creatures, and what I do know about the creatures that I've chosen for this deck is that they really benefit from like hitting, right? The combat damage, like the Doors of Durin are very helpful. God's Pharaoh's Gift is good because it gives haste to a lot of creatures. We are playing dragons, and I think there's a couple of routes that you could go, and so I was kind of hoping like maybe to kind of exercise my thoughts with this, because I am definitely over cards. I'm over 100, like by a lot, probably by 10, in terms of all these cards. Some of the ones I know I do want to play for sure. This guy. This dude is extremely strong. The Balefire Dragon. Even if it doesn't have taste, it can stick for just a turn. Once this thing like starts to hit opponents, they're just done for. Like, such a good card, such a good strong card. I mean, I could consider like really making it good, right, and playing like a card like Dragon Tempest. I don't know if I play enough cards to make this this particular card good. I could go this route, and I could play like an Ancient Bronze Dragon too, you know? I think like having a couple haste enablers plus like a Dragon Tempest might just be enough, like to take these cards like over the top. But this is just 2 additional cards now that I have to add to my 100, and it's just very difficult, right, to do so. Whereas I'm just okay with this perhaps not, you know, attacking the turn it comes out, you know, perhaps. Other cards that do have haste already that I like a lot, like Goldspan Dragon. Chiskoria seems really good in this deck. Infinity for Artifacts. Craterhoof Behemoth as a finisher. Super strong, right? And also think of like God Pharaoh's Gift. You know, I could just like have this in the graveyard and just like, you know, pull it out and ETB everything and, you know, go in for lethal. So same goes with Enray's Forerunners, just like another sweet card that kind of like has that overrun potential. Cards I love that just have a sweet like enter the battlefield trigger, a tally, where a tally just is going to get all that value from our opponent's libraries and ours, and it also has that crazy transformation, you know, clause too. Terrastodon sort of fits that bill. Terror of the Peaks with Blade of Cells, it just seems insane. Like whether I'm putting the Blade of Cells on the Terror of the Peaks or something else, God, that just sounds devastating. Sounds absolutely crazy. So I love that idea. Ancient Copper Dragon, sweet, and Old Gnawbone. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much the extent of the deck. I really think that's probably all I really need to do. I think I'm probably at 100, but let's go ahead and give it count here. And then, like I said, I'm probably still over because I have added cards, but appreciate all y'all hanging out. Appreciate all the views you've been sending me. It's been really a blast. So let's see here. I guess we're just gonna go from the top. There's our girl. 1, 2, 3, 4. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22. I'll put this one to the side because it doesn't have a sleeve. Yeah, it's fine. That's 23. 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Okay, we're at 33 now. 34. 35, 36. 37, 38, 39, 40. I added a lot. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Okay, we're at 45, and these are all the extras so far. Alright. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. Okay, we're at 51 here. I'll just add the ones that are over. 52, 53, 54, 55, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. 75, eh? That sounds crazy. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 3, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. So we're over by 10. Which is kind of a goal, to be honest. That means I think I have 12 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11. Oh. So I definitely have to make some cuts to this deck. So what I was attempting to do is like really add go into the mill train, right? That's what kind of we were like kind of going after, right? So it's just here. And we definitely were adding some tutors too. We were really considering adding some tutors. Like the major thing with the tutors though is that for this particular deck is that like the reckless handling seems good, but again, these aren't artifacts. So with Maria, they don't accelerate us. So like this reckless handling could definitely probably go. That's probably like an easier cut to make. I still want to try a gamble just to have like a nice tutor. We should play a tutor. So that should be nice. Blasphemous Act is just a really nice removal card with Beast Within. These are just like staples. They definitely both won me games, so there's no reason not to include them. They're game-winning cards. Beast Within and Blasphemous Act are definitely game-winning. So they can just be very strategic for you. Underworld Cookbook. I mean, I guess I could say this. Like, it's probably like our least desirable because it is kind of fast. Like for the Maria, it's just a nice one drop, but like again, we lose a lot. We don't get much out of it. It's not like it replaces the card, so that's probably a pretty easy cut from these piles at least. Vivian the Hunt is also kind of expensive, so I'm not really so jiggy on that. It's probably a pretty easy cut. I like the Phyrexian Dragon Engine. I like that it has double strike. I don't feel like there's You know, I feel it's okay to have at least one double striker in the deck, so I think that's just going to make the cut no matter what. Blade of Cells is intriguing because it is like a two mana colorless card, which Mario really likes a lot, and it just seems really strong, so I think it's just going to find a spot. Saren's Steelseeker kind of gets into that other similar problematic feature where it's just not an artifact, and Mario loves artifacts to come in before it is cast. So like the Steelseeker does accrue a lot of value, but it's not like we can tap it for mana the turn that Mario comes down. So it's like it needs like a lot of 0 drops and 1 drops, and we don't have too many 0 drops to make it like really sing. So I mean, I'm sure like you could build a Mario deck that has a lot of 0 drops and 1 drops, and Saren's Steelseeker becomes like your best card. But you know, if like you have a lot of graveyard synergy too, but that's not how we're really rolling. So I'm probably gonna have to say goodbye to that one. Collector's Vault's also just kind of mediocre, to be honest. Where it's like it definitely puts in work, but it's just kind of a little slow. I'm not too sad about saying goodbye to that. So that just kind of leaves us with these 4 here. Blasphemous Act, Beast Within, Gamble, and Big Score. So how are we feeling about Big Score? Like, I feel it's pretty solid for this deck in particular. I think it's really solid, actually. Played at instant speed too. I think it's very nice. And we have the Ruby Medallion, so I think the Big Score can be very strong. So we'll definitely consider that. I'm gonna put it to the side and say it's a yes. I'm just gonna go ahead and say yes to all of these actually, and just like figure out a way to cut from the deck now. Just because I want to give them all, I just want to give them all a shot. I mean, we did include Spiteful Banditry, so that was kind of like our, you know, way of maybe not destroying our board. And you know, but does it fill the same role as like a Blasphemous Act? I don't think so. Like a Blasphemous Act kind of just really keeps our opponents in check, like especially if they're accelerating really fast, and we really don't have an answer. Blasphemous Act could really be that kind of that great equilibrium for us. Same with Beast Within, just that instant speed is so good to just destroy something at instant speed, any non-land target permanent. Destroy any target permanent, god dang. So any target permanent, holy moly. And then Gamble is just kind of a nice tutor, so. Gamble though, it's like, it's tough. It's like a tough one, but it could like be like our 6th goblin, right? Because we might want to like really find our goblin welder or goblin engineer. So I think maybe Gamble is definitely something to consider. I think that may be a no-brainer, right? Phyrexian Dragon Engine, like we're gonna like it, but like it's not like our big payoff. Blade of Cells similarly, like it's not really the greatest putting on a Maria. It's really tough not to say no to it because it looks really solid. It looks really solid with like our Terror of the Peaks or Wurmcoil Engine. Just that alone just seems like a really good wombo combo. So something to consider there. Big Score just seems pretty strong too. And then is there any cards that maybe, you know, we're considering here that maybe not be as strong? You know, I have been like really thinking about Panharmonicon, and it seems good enough. I still want to test it out a little bit more. It's so hard to make cuts though sometimes. It really is difficult. I don't know if you all want to help me with some cuts here. I mean, I'll post what I have on Moxfield when I'm working with. I'll probably put it on the CGB dojo too in their EDH forum. Just because I'm kind of like getting to a spot where it looks like it's kind of tuning itself and kind of getting to where it needs to be. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with all the creatures that we have. Panharmonicon. It seems pretty decent, but it's like seems really good with some of our artifacts. It just seems like all right with some of the others. You know? Yeah, I wanted to make it work though, but it's not really like a landfall kind of deck. I won't be too sad to see it go, to be honest. Do like the card though. I guess we'll definitely consider that a gamble. Let's leave that one up. Probably sleeve some of these other ones up. I definitely have my eye on. Probably just be responsible here and get the Beast Within and Blasphemous Act in there. I do think we're like kind of a tooth and nail deck now, so now that I think about it, like definitely kind of like a tooth and nail deck, just because we have the Enraged Tyrant, Crater with Behemoth. And we're definitely kind of have like some additional ramp strategy here too. I'm curious all what if you watched this long, like what do you think about this card, Umezawa's Jite? It seems really good. Seems really good, like enabler for our Rishkar expertise and Last March of the Ants and Great Henge. It seems really good. So we're definitely considering that one. Definitely playing it. I do like Eska's Chariot, but perhaps since we're not like playing Panharmonicon, maybe it just gets kind of worse. So I'll be down to like kind of maybe say goodbye to that. It's kind of like another, you know, artifact reanimator target. But let's get in the big score next for sure. It's kind of crazy to cut a Chariot, but I don't know, man. I do like the Dragon Engine, there's no doubt about it. And I'm willing to try a Blade. Let's see how many lands I'm running. I think I have 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35. It says I have 35. 35 is kind of low. So I can't like be upset when I'm mana screwed. But I definitely won't be flooding either. Yeah, you know, I'm okay with, you know, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna take, because I'm playing a banditry already, so I think it's okay. I think it's okay to cut the Blasphemous Act. Definitely get in the Dragon Engine, that will lead us to Blade of Cells to find a spot for. Yeah, Tooth and Nail is good, but I don't know if it's like, it's so expensive. Like, even though I make a ton of mana, it's like 9 mana. It's a really like over the top card. I think it might be between like some of these, maybe 1s and 2s, but I love these 1s and 2s. Blade of Cells. Bankbuster's so good though, right? I don't want to cut a Bankbuster. I don't want to cut a Dork. don't know if I want to cut a creature either. But this deck is looking cool. It's looking really tight. The One Ring, wouldn't that be odd if we just cut the One Ring? It's too good, man. Draws too many cards, it can hit land drops, it's too good. It's way too good. Don't think I want to cut a creature, a big high-end creature. Prefer maybe to cut a two drop here, so maybe our least impactful one. I don't know, it's Greaves, I don't think it's Halloween Mine. The price statue's pretty solid anyways, like it's kind of doing everything we want it to do. It's very difficult. Very difficult decision here. Yeah, I think 35 lands is enough too, so let me count cards again. I think it's just one cut though for this one. What's it gonna be, man? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Bummer. Bummer-ooski, man. Blade of Sails. I don't know. All the other cards seem like really solid. It's hard. Mutt. The Mutt. The Mutt is alright, yeah. It's way too difficult. Could be the Terastodon, actually, in all honesty, because it's so expensive, and I don't know if I want like 2 8-drops in my deck. Like the Cityscape Leveler and the Terastodon. The Terastodon is so good, though. It's so difficult, man. You know what? This hurts my soul, but is it the Jite? Could be. Could be the Umezawa Jite. Just because I think maybe we're playing enough strong creatures, but I don't know. And I did take Sylvan Library out for more artifact synergy, so this is too hard, man. Well, to be continued, I guess. I appreciate if you stayed around this long. Maybe you can post this deck. Maybe help me find a cut. Thanks a lot.